I am telling you, listen, before the ending of this month, this story is a bygone story. Listen, who is the prophet? Okay, if I want to ask somebody now, if this baby comes out, what will you do? What will you do?
I will rededicate myself to God.
You rededicate.
I will rededicate myself.
What about you?
I will rededicate myself to God.
You rededicate.
I will rededicate myself.
What about you?
Greetings, people. It's Mr. Pull the Trigger yet again on another episode of the Enlightenment series. So the question still remains, what went wrong? One man was about to rededicate their lives to God. But what went wrong? The confidence that Omoto had, Fufeng, the confidence that he had in that confession, what will you do if that baby comes out from anywhere?
I will rededicate myself to God.
You rededicate.
I will rededicate myself.
What about you?
If that baby comes out today, what will you do? To a point that he made an entirely grown man say that I will rededicate my life to God.
I will rededicate myself to God.
You rededicate.
I will rededicate myself.
What about you?
And my question also to these colonized men, because these men are colonized, the followers, the leaders of these charlatans. How do you see yourself as a man when you allow yourself to be used by people like Jeremiah, to be used like toy soldiers, like robots? You can see how that man is responding to Omoto, that he's actually believing that Omoto is actually a true servant of God. He's actually believing in the word or the prophecy, which was a confession that Omoto is giving. To say, I will rededicate my life to God if that baby comes out. So in other words, what most of you did not pay more attention to is himself, the one that is receiving, that is being asked, what will you do if the baby comes? He's also doubting the capacity and the ability of Jeremiah Omoto, being able to make that prophecy come to pass. Inasmuch as Jeremiah Omoto gave that prophecy confession with so much confidence, because he was at a point whereby he was ready to let go of testimony. He was so much prepared to release testimony. But then after he did all that confession, he went back and then he sat down again and then he calculated the downs and the ups. Cost-benefit analysis. How much is this going to cost me to release this child? What's going to happen to my integrity? People will say, some will say my prophecy was accurate, but there's Mr. Pull the Trigger out there and his followers who are going to critically analyze this matter. So he was on a balance, trying to balance out everything and see which way to go. But then he was advised wrongly. Whoever advised him, the little devils in his council, advised him against it. Advised him against bringing out the child. But now, do you know that, Jeremiah, I know you're watching, do you realize that had your prophecy come true, your confession, had it manifest, now we would be having a different conversation? Do you know that? We could have passed this whole phase of demanding justice for testimony. Gullibles were still going to believe that you're an accurate prophet. Gullibles were still going to pat you on the back to say, my father said it. Even that stooge in your church, he was going to rededicate his life to God if your prophecy, your confession had come to pass. But now look at where we are now. Because of your inconsistency and falsehood, we are still stuck on the same subject, same topic, which we are not going to leave anytime soon until we get that boy back. So many people have approached me so far, but their information is not reliable. One guy called me and then he said testimony was taken out of the country. He was flown out of the country. That's what the guy said, but he couldn't claim the money that we have offered to people that gave us valuable information. But he's suggesting that we go to the airport, we go and ask for footages. Come on, that's a long process. No one is going to commit to that. the information that we are going to pay money for, it's information. If you have connections with anyone at the airport, if you bring us that footage of the boy going out, we'll cash out. So don't take chances as well, people that are coming to claim this prize with vague information. Your information must be solid. Don't say you heard. Before you come, you have to make sure that you have your facts right and you have your information correct. Someone send me coordinates, GPS coordinates, to say, go and look at this particular point, this location. You'll find the boy there. That's not how we operate. You have to be so sure that the building is called this. On this street, you will see these physical features in the house that the boy is. There are probably 5 people inside. We don't know. So that's the kind of info. Those are the specifics we are looking for you to cash out. So people, don't take chances. This money is not just going to go out there as easy as that. You're not just going to send me an account number because you've given me information. Once you give me information, we'll go through the information. We'll deploy people on the ground to go and make sure that what you gave us is checking out. And if your information is reliable, then you will cash out. So the offer is still there. Anyone with reliable information, keep on coming. But the reason why I was doing this video, it was to ask what went wrong. What really, really went wrong with Jeremiah Omoto? Because the guy he had made up his mind. This we can all tell. Jeremiah had made up his mind that he's bringing back the child. But what changed him? What convinced him otherwise? To say, no, I can't do it anymore. I can't bring out the child anymore. But I already explored the reasons why he did not bring out the child. But still, I'm still boggled. My mind is still boggled. Because we're still getting to a point whereby he still has to release the child either way. He has to releasing the child is not an option. Freeing testimony is not an option. He might deliberate about it and think about it for now, but releasing that boy, it's not an option. Whichever way that he will choose to release this boy, it's okay with us. We just don't care. But if he ever thinks a single day that there's a time that will come whereby we're not demanding justice for this little boy, the guy is dreaming, honestly. And I'm still questioning as well that guy that wanted to rededicate his life to God. Which God did he want to rededicate his life to? Do you see how they're turning, a normally functional man? You can tell that man has a family, the one that wants to rededicate his life to God. That man has a family. When he goes back home, there's a wife somewhere there and children that will actually say, Dad, oh, our father is back. How do you carry your integrity and your honor back into your house when out there other men are making you a toy, when other men are, embarrassing you like that, are controlling you like that? They are making a fool out of you like that because these men are being made a fool out of. How do you maintain that integrity of being a father to your children, being a husband to your wife, and actually command authority in your own house? When out there Jeremiah makes you run around like he's errand boy. Man, what's wrong? How do we balance me here? Balance me. I need to be balanced. These are the men that actually get home and beat their wives and say, I'm the father of this house. But out there's another man that he runs around for. I will rededicate my life to God. If that baby, I will rededicate. Hey, it's ignorance. That's what it is. It's pure ignorance. That's losing your honor as a man, submitting to these jackals, calling this man a spiritual father. Where do you people get all these things from? How did we get to this point whereby you can say dead to a prophet, to a Nigerian prophet? When did this start? How did it become a norm that it's a gesture of respect to call Omoto dead, to call Bushiri my father, to kneel down when you're greeting them? How did we get here? How did it happen? You only have one father, and that is your biological father. And obviously the one in heaven. Spiritual father. All these doctrines that they impose on you, they are meant to manipulate you and fool you and make you lose control and free will. Because once an old man calls a pastor or a prophet younger than him, my father, I've seen young ones, even here in different parts of Africa, young prophets, young baby charlatans that have elderly people in their congregations. And those elderly people, they are calling those young charlatans our father. Dead, my dad. My father. Your father what? Is my spiritual dead. On their profile pictures, you see them putting a young boy who says he's a prophet, calling them dead. Are you people, are we Africans? What's wrong with us? What did they do? What did they disconnect from our mental capacities, from our intellect? Which strings did they pull out? We are damaged people, obviously. We are confused people. We are a confused generation. We are a confused continent, honestly. And you expect anything good to come out of this continent when we still have people that are enslaved on a mental level like that. My dad, my spiritual father. Is your spiritual father for what? Where in the Bible did Christ ever say that you shall have spiritual fathers? Where? The DGO. For what? For who? They're not your daddies, these people. They're not your fathers. They're not your spiritual fathers. Some, they even forsake their biological fathers to call these charlatans their spiritual fathers. They hear from us. They hear for us from God. We have to honor our fathers, our spiritual fathers. It's respect that we are giving. That's not respect. That's submitting to occultic bandits. These are occultic bandits, occultic covenants that you are submitting to. That's why you become an easy target for a sacrifice. Because once you are aligned, the moment you start giving them names, you are connecting. The moment you start giving them that respect, to you it's respect. But to them, it's you submitting to their occultic system. You call them your spiritual father. You are submitting your soul to them. You are connecting your soul to their occultic covenants. And you don't know it. In your ignorance, you still call them my father, my papa. Your papa for what? For who? Where do you get all that nonsense from? The moment you call them your spiritual fathers, your spiritual whatever, what nonsense, whatever you call them, you're connecting to their occultic covenants. And when a time for sacrifice comes, all he has to do is to choose which one is more loyal. Because he has to sacrifice someone that is dear to him. If he does not go for his family members, the alternative are spiritual daughters and spiritual sons. Because you have created a covenant in the spiritual realm. You're even saying spiritual father. So the first priority, the first sacrifice that is expected from these charlatans in their occultic shrines is a family member, someone they are connected to blood-wise. You understand? That's how these occultic sacrifices go. That's why you see most of them, they sacrifice their daughters, they sacrifice their parents, they sacrifice their brothers, their sisters. Because those are the most desirable sacrifices for them to sustain their occultic shrines. They have to sacrifice. It's a give and take. They signed contracts, these people. They signed covenants, which they'll never leave. They'll live with death, till death do them part. So there's a way to sustain this relationship that they have with in their occultism. You just don't join occultism and then you start having this aura and then you start having these powers to cast spells upon people and start gathering and pulling crowds for free. No, it's a give and take. They give something and they get something. That's why they manipulate so many women, end up sleeping with so many women, so that they sustain their occultism. So this intertwining of name calling each other, calling them your spiritual father, it's a risk. You're putting yourself into a detriment that you will never be able to get out of, into a bondage that you will never be able to break. Because you become the second next best alternative. The priority sacrifice that they should make is a family member, the one that is blood related to them. But they realize that there's more death that is going. They can't be left alone in isolation without their family members. So what's the plan B? Let's have people into our covenants that submit to us, that connects with us spiritually, not by blood. So the spiritual connection is a substitution for the blood connection. And when you get connected to them spiritually, on a spiritual level, a sacrificial of your soul is now worth on the altar of occultism. These are some deep revelations that I'm giving you right now. You will never know them. They will never tell you because they can't tell you because you'll be aware and you'll be enlightened. So the only way that their sacrifice can be worthy on the altar of occultism is if there's a spiritual connection. Those people that are stubborn in their congregations, that still call them Jeremiah, that still call them Omoto, they are not at risk. They will never be at risk because they are not spiritually connected. But these ones that want to pledge their loyalty and allegiance, say, my dad, they are the ones who are prone, very vulnerable to being sacrificed. And by default, if it's a mother who is spiritually connected to the charlatan, their children automatically becomes part of the union. This is how they've been administering these occultic shrines, and you've been wondering what's happening, how is it going? But within the family, there'll be others that are prayerful, others that are stubborn with a stubborn spirit that will resist. So many people are calling me right now. My mother is in this shrine. My sister is in this shrine. I don't know how to get them out. Those are the stubborn ones that God has chosen, that have a stubborn spirit that do not succumb to any of these gimmicks. So if you're in a prophetic shrine, you're putting your entire lineage, your entire family into jeopardy, you're putting them at risk. That's why they start targeting spiritual daughters. That's why there are mysterious deaths in these occultic shrines. And you wonder. I've been in Roman Catholic. You have been in these traditional churches. People have not been dying the way that they're dying in these occultic churches, in these prophetic churches. You think it's normal. You don't see any red flags there. You think people are just dying. They host big crusades and people die. People stumble and step on each other. People die. And you think it's normal. You see kids disappearing, kids mysteriously dying at their crusades, at their events, and you think it's normal. There are so many secrets behind this. They are behind these systems that we shall explore, that we shall expose. That's why they target those spiritual daughters and spiritual sons, so that they keep on sustaining their occultism. So be careful. Stop calling these jagabans, these jackals, your spiritual fathers. They are not your spiritual fathers. You're submitting yourself, your soul to them on a silver platter. The moment you start calling them spiritual father, the moment you start being bound by a monthly contribution, a tithe, a seed every month, that's you reinforcing the covenant. And when your time comes, when you dry out, they'll throw you away. They'll spit you out. So be aware, people. Wake up, Africa. Dislodge yourselves from these shells of mediocrity and look beyond conformity to the status quo. Let's start engaging in real matters that matter. Not these manipulations that we've been going through, these religious manipulations. Let's wake up. Let's start fighting real fights and let's get rid of these charlatans. Let's put an end to them. It's possible. We can. If we come together, our brothers and sisters who are still fighting for them, don't worry. Very soon they'll come to the party. We'll be singing the same song. It takes time. It took time for them to be indoctrinated to that level. When the right time comes, their eyes will be opened. The things that we're talking about, they'll start seeing them. And at that time, when they lose a family member, that's when it will hurt. Nobody changes unless they go through pain. So wait for pain too. But I'm praying that they don't wait for that pain to visit them, that loss to visit them, because it will be too late. But if they wake up now, it's good for them. So with that being said, I'll check you out on the next episode of the Enlightenment series. If you're new on this platform, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, leave a like. Make it a habit that before you even watch my videos, you like. Before you even watch or listen to what I'm saying, comment and share. Comment and share. And when you are done watching, then come back and now engage and start talking about something that is relative to the subject. So I'll check you out on the next episode of the Enlightenment series. It's Mr. Paul the Trigger. I'm out.